Hello. Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. So
Hi.
Hi,
I
Amit.
hope you can all hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello. Okay, yeah, class, so shall we start? I think you are ready now.
Yeah, Amit, I have posted a question. You can explain the in the QA session or whenever you want. I just need some clarification on that.
Hello, sorry.
I have pasted a question on chat. Can you take up now or you'll be explaining in the QA session?
No, I'll do it. See, DB over here stands for database objects. So basically, what we
Yeah.
do is like we will be creating multiple objects over here, right? So like we will have
Okay.
tables, we'll have views, we have functions. So there are a lot of objects that we get in the SQL Server. So DB over here stands for an object of that database. And when we talk of schema, right? So schema is basically what happens is that the table that you create, right? So when you create a primary key and a foreign key, right? So like yesterday we created a table yesterday. So where we had the primary key over here, the student ID over here, and there was another student ID over here, which was a student ID over here was a primary key, and over here it was a foreign key. So these two tables had a relationship on the basis of that column. Now you can have such multiple tables, right? You can have more tables as well, where it can happen that that you had one more table in which there was a primary key, and this primary key was again connected to some another table over here with the help of foreign key. So that flow is basically called as a schema. That how that tables are connected to each other, that is called a schema. And if you want to see that, so what you do is like what you all do is, do you all have those tables yesterday that we created, primary and the foreign key table? I think I created one of them. So if you have those tables with you, just give me a second. So just give me a second, Basu. Okay. So this tables that we create, right? Like for example, I have this database, Indeed Smith. So you see, we have multiple tables in it, but the tables that we have over here right now, because there was one primary key foreign key table that I created. So that table, I mean, that relationship, I might not be able to show you, but I'll create another such tables. I don't know why SQL Server started getting very slow.
Amit, you said how tables are connected to each other. We say that is a schema. But
Sorry?
we used to see if tables are connected to each other, we say that as a relationship, right?
Hmm.
Then schema is.
So that whole diagram is called as a schema, or you call it a database diagram.
Mhm.
So like what you do is, so if you just right. So now if you see over here, right, like I have multiple tables that I can see. So now what happened is basically this, right? If you see these diagrams right now over here, okay, now these can be multiple, right? So you can create many, I mean, you can have many such tables with you. So what we do is basically, like schema is generally a concept that we use in the, data warehouses that we have. So it is not technically used in the databases, right? So schema, if you would have heard of, so you have the schemas like star schema, right? You would have heard of. Snowflake schema. So those are basically what schemas we have. So schema basically becomes a technique the way we are storing that data, right? So that is generally more like us the concept that we use in the data warehouses. But what we do over there is like, so what we do is like you can have multiple such tables, and then what we do is we connect them and we give that one such schema that you would have you one such the diagram or the relationship on the table that you would have created. You create or you give a name to that schema, right? And you can have multiple schemas in that data warehouse or in a database. So what we do is in the reference of that schema that you would have created, right? So what you can do is you can create a lot of other objects as well, right? Like views, you can create something like as the stored procedures or functions which will now be pointing to that schema itself, right? Like for example, if I just show you, I have just one more server with me. See, in this, I have a data warehouse as well. So now what I'll do is in this data warehouse, if I'll show you the tables. So we have lots of tables in this, fact tables, dimension tables. We have multiple tables that you will be able to see in this now. So what we do over here is like if I now show you, so you can see there are multiple diagrams that you see over here. So these are like, I can create the independent schemas. So if you see right now, I can see over here that how this table is connected to the other tables, right? This schema is called as fact schema, the start schema. So this is in the middle, we have a fact table, and on the sides, we have dimension tables. Now, what are fact tables and dimension tables? And this is something that is more like a concept of a data warehouse, like how we store and manage the data, which is at a warehouse level, right? All the historical data being stored at one single place. So if you see, if you have multiple such diagrams over here, so these are the schemas that act like. So see what happens is schema is now a very broad term. So over there, what happens now is that whenever you start creating a database, right? So it doesn't happen that we start simply come up with a SQL server and start making the tables. Before making the tables, what happen is the database developer, he will sit with a pen and paper, right? And he will have a discussion with the team that okay, which what all type of data we will need. And then what he does is he starts making those tables with the pen and paper only, that okay, we will have these many different tables, and this is how these tables will be connected to each other. So that whole logical design is also something that is called as a schema. So wherein what happen is once the diagram is created, then what happens is the development of the database or a data warehouse starts from that point. So that is what exactly schema is all about. Schema is like what that overall design and different objects that you're going to have inside a database, right? So that is something we call it as schema now. So technically in the databases, it doesn't play a big role. It is more like a concept that we use into the data warehouses. When you build data warehouse, that is where we pay attention to the schemas, where you have lots and lots of them.
Okay, can I say the schema is like somewhat related to data modeling?
Yes, yes. It's like a data
Oh,
modeling plus
okay.
all the data objects that are related to that. See, data modeling becomes like just this schema that you see over this diagram that you see.
Yeah.
But now these are the tables also. There are there are columns also,
Okay.
right? Using these, I might create some functions also. So
Okay.
all the things will be comprising. We will call it that this is my one schema. Because schema, if you will use in any other database, right? Basically, what happens is like if you will be working in the MySQL, so now
Yeah.
over there, what happens is the definition of schema change. Over here in SQL Server, we call it as database. In that, we call database as schema. That okay, when you will be creating a database over there. So let me just quickly just show you something over there. Like if you see now, these are databases. Now database over here is called as a schema, as in collection of all the objects. So
Okay.
that is how this word schema has come up. And in the SQL Server, we call this, if you see over there, if it is any other day, but these are the schemas that I have. And these is nothing, these are just the databases like I am having in the SQL Server, right? The exercise that I gave you, right? You all that computer manufacturers. Now, It has two tables inside that. So we have two tables over here, and over here we are calling that database as a schema. So that is how the definition is very wide, and there are a lot of different meanings to this word schemas over here.
Why? Because I ran the query, you gave two SQL files, right? I ran the query and I was trying to understand each and every statement, got the insert, primary key, foreign key, and I noticed like in the select query, DBO dot table name you have used. So I was just thought of asking why you are mentioning this database object dot tables.
It comes by default, right? Any table that you will create. So see what happen is like when you use any of the tables.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I have noticed that, Amit, but in the query, right? Because we are using with the use command, we are activating the database and we are starting working and running our queries.
what is happening? That is what I'm telling you. So when you
Yeah.
drag the things, right? When you drag the things from here,
Okay.
if you have a table over here,
Mm-hmm.
one is what we do is we write the name of the table. That's like star from orders.
Yeah, yeah.
But what happens is when you drag the tables from here, it automatically brings the DBO along that. So that
Okay.
is why the DBO comes up. Like for example, if I just drag and drop, so we don't know, right? So like you have these table names that you have. You see, I drag the table, so it brings the DBO also along that.
Yeah.
It brings it that way. But when you write it simply, so it is the same thing. You write it like this,
Okay.
or you when you drag and drop. So that is how the query is written over there. There is a drag and drop because it is being written by there is a auto script generation in these uh,
Okay.
SQL Server. What happen is if I have created any table, I can generate a script of it. Like create table, insert
Okay.
into in that the SQL will automatically write that DB also over there. That this is the database that we have, so it brings that automatically there. So that is where the DB is coming.
Okay. What I thought is like if you are involving more than one databases, you are just creating the database object dot that particular table name. I thought in that way. Okay.
Okay. No, no, no. So it's like just that the normal that when you drag it, it brings that.
Okay. Yeah, this makes sense. Thank you so much.
So now so we were creating the database that was there. So okay. So now what we will do is let's come to this again. So the table that we were using yesterday. So I'll come to that only. So did you all try that exercise? So Deepa, I hope you were able to create those both the databases, right? With
Yeah,
that query.
completed one exercise fully, but in the second one, right, the employee management after 12th question, it involves some joining. So I forgot all those joining. So I thought after attending the classes, I can try those questions.
Sure. So join, I think we will be in a position to maybe little bit understanding today or
Okay.
tomorrow. So we will start on that. So once we do that, then I think we will be able to do all of them also. Now, these two exercises they were still of a I will say a very low complexity. But after that, I'll also give you the exercises with a little more moderate to high complexity as well.
Okay, sure.
Amit, how to write the computational statements like for multiplication or something like that?
Uh,
So
Sorry, can you go again, please?
for the computational statements, right, like multiplication or addition to the price, something like that, means
We'll
how?
be doing that. So we'll be doing that today. So I'll
Okay,
be
fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. See, now yesterday what we did was we had actually done some stuff like we were mostly we spent the time on the DQL part, right, where we were talking about the select statement. So we saw that how we use select, then from, and we used where, and we used order by. So these are different clauses that we used yesterday, right? I think in the where clause we saw all operators, greater than, less than, like operator, and then and or operator. In the operators, if you remember, there was one more operator that I was talking about, that was in operator, right? Now let me ask you all. So please write a query where I would like to fetch the data of the states, right? So you have the states also. So state also, what I would like to do is I would like you all to write a query to fetch the data of Texas, Florida, and California. Just fetch the data of these three states.
You want all the columns for these states.
All the rows.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
all the
Okay.
rows for these three states.
Okay.
Okay. See, now how have you written the query? Can anyone share the query?
I can tell because I'm working in another system, so I can't share.
So so if you use already in, so that is what I basically wanted to show you. See, now the one who know it how we use the in operator, that is what it is. Basically, what happened is if I had to write this query without in, right, I would have written it select star from orders where state is equal to Texas or state is equals to Florida or state is equals to California, right? This is how I would have written this story. Now, what happened is this or statement can become really lengthy. If you have lots and lots of states, right? If I give you three more states, you will have to keep on writing where state equal to this or state equal to this or state equal to this or state equal to this. You will keep writing that. So in order to overcome that hassle, what we have is we have an in operator. So what you do is you say where state in. So when you write where state in, now this in operator is something that works like a or operator only. So I'm saying where state in this or this or this. So it actually works like a or operator. So this is what this or operator is, or this in operator is all about. It is just an alternate to the multiple or conditions that you have to write for one single variable. You can use in instead of that. I hope I'm clear to all of you.
Yes.
Okay. So now similarly, in this we also have a distinct clause, right? We have a distinct clause. Now distinct clause is something that we use if you have to pull the unique data from a column, right? Like for example, if you say select distinct category from orders. So this is something that is called as, this is used to pull unique data. So you have three unique categories: office supplies, furniture, and technology. And you can see their name. Okay. So when you say select distinct category, it just gives you unique categories now. And similarly, if you say select distinct category, comma, subcategory, right? You want to pull subcategory also. Now what will happen is it is going to give you the unique combination of these two columns. It will give you the unique combination of these two, category and subcategory. So if you run it, so it gives you that, okay, you have, right? So it gives you office supplies art, office supplies fasteners, office supplies envelope. So you can see unique combination of category and subcategory. Okay. If you see right now, this data that I have generated, you see I have category and subcategory in this. Basically, if you will see that every category has multiple subcategories, but the data is not coming in a presentable format. How can you think I can make it better? Better in the sense, if you see office supplies and furniture, then again office supplies. I don't see categories in a sequence over here. Right. So we should use order by, right? So if I apply a order by clause on top of this, I say order by category. So you will now see that the data will come in a sorted order of that. So I can see now all the subcategories of furniture together, office supplies together. So this is where we can use order by. So now let's move forward on this. So we have seen this select this name. In SQL, what you can do is you can give, so maybe I'll just show you that. Now over here, what I'll do is I'll be writing a small sequence, right? What I've done is we have seen select command, we have seen from command, and then we have seen where, and then we have seen order by. Now, these commands that we have seen, this is, please remember, this is how the sequence has to be if you have to write the query, right? So if you say select whatever columns you want to see from the table name, where clause, and then order by. This is a logical sequence in which we write the SQL queries. If you don't want to use order by, you can remove it. If you don't want to use where, you can remove it. But you cannot interchange the where and order by, right? You cannot say select star from table, order by this, and where this. So this is a sequence in which we write the query, right? There is also something which is called as logical sequence in which SQL executes the query, which I will be telling you in just a little while. But once we do one or two, three commands as well. Now over here, what we are going to do is we are going to now talk about some of the aggregate functions, right? Some of the aggregate functions. Now, what are aggregate functions? Aggregate functions are like your sum, right? Minimum, maximum, count, average, right? These are called as aggregate functions because what they do is they combine the data and they give you one single value. So if you want to use any of these functions in SQL, you can very easily use them. Suppose if I want to find the sum of sales, so I can say select sum of sales from orders. So what I can do is if I say select sum of sales, so you will see it will give me the total sales value. What is the total that I have? Okay. So I can see select sum of sales and I get the total sales over here. Now in this query, if you will notice something, right? So when I'm saying select sum of sales, do you see there is this column name? I am getting no column name. Over here, no column name. Why so? Why is it that I'm getting this as no column name?
Like these are the columns which we are building at runtime.
So basically, this is you just did the calculated column, right? We did a calculation. So I'm not showing any column over here. I have done some calculation and I'm showing that. That is what is coming as no column name. In case when you run some query and you see these the column names are not coming, and you want to give them some dummy names, right? Which we call in SQL as alias names. Alias names. So you can do that, right? So that we do it with the help of the as command. So if I say select sum of sale as total. So what I'm doing is I'm just giving a name to this so that I don't get this output as no column. So if I now run this, you see now I'm getting a column name as total. That the output that we create, the column name of this should be this. So you can give alias name, and this is something that you can give to the existing columns also, right? So please try this once. right? So now if you see over here, you can try to use the other functions also, right? If you want to find, suppose the average, minimum or maximum, you can use that, right? Like for example, if you want to find the average. So what I'll do is I'll simply copy this and let me write it over here. If instead of sum you want to find the average, so you can find the average also, right? So it gives you the average sales, right? If you want to find the minimum sales, you can use min function. So it will give you the minimum sales. And you can use them together also, right? It's not necessary you have to write a separate query. You can say select minimum sales as min, comma, sum of sales as total, max of sales as maximum. So you can generate multiple such calculations in one single query also. You don't have to write different ones. You can see minimum, total, maximum.
Amit, I have a question. Like, if we are going to do, if we are going to find like average sales, and we want to name it like as average sales, so can't we use space in between average and sales?
Sorry, what do you want?
Is it allowed to put space if I write like as total sales? If I want to add both total and sales word.
So you can come over here. You will say overhead. So you will have to write sales. If you will write, you have to put it in the square brackets. This
Okay.
is how you have to write it.
Okay. So that was showing
Right? So you
us.
can do it.
Okay. Thank you.
So now you see total sales. When you have a space, you just have to wrap that thing inside the square brackets.
Okay.
Okay. Now with this, what we will be doing is we will be now understanding a group by statement. Now group by statement is something. This is a statement. We use to create summary. We used to create or find whatever you use, create the summaries. Now, for example, if you want to find the total sales by region, right? So right now what you are doing is you are finding that, okay, what is the total sale, right? What is the sum of sale? But if you want to find, like, we have this complete data where we have lots and lots of columns. Now, what I want to do over here is suppose I want to create a quick summary that what was the total sales that was generated in the east region, west region, south region. Like all the regions that I have, what was the total sales generated in each of the region. Same way, I want to generate total sales in each of the category. So there could be n number of things, right? What is the average sales that I generated in each category? What is the total profit I generated in each of the category? So if you want to have that kind of summary that you need to create, you will use select and you will say select region, comma, sum of sales, right? What I'm trying to say is that for each region, I want to find the total sale, right? For in each region, what is the total sale that was generated from orders? I will say group by region. So when I'm saying select is something that we use where what I do is I am saying that I want to see this column and this column, but you cannot show a complete column and a aggregated value together. So that is why what I do is I say the data should be grouped by region. That is for each region, I want to find the sum of sales. So this is how we use the group by clause. So if I'll now run this, you will see for east region it gives you the total sale, south region it gives you the total sale, and likewise. So grouping, what is grouping? Grouping is like in the back end, Grouping is like, breaking the data, breaking the data into subsets. So how SQL will do is, technically what SQL will do is, SQL will, like if you have 4 regions, SQL will break the data into 4 parts. Data of East region, data of South region, data of West region, and data of Central region. This is how it is going to split the data set, split the data into multiple parts. And when you have that data into multiple parts, then what it does is it says, oh, okay, East region, let me find the sum of cells. West region, let me find the sum of cells. So that is how the group by clause basically works. So you have to make sure that whenever you are using a group by clause, you should be using one aggregate functions. Aggregation will definitely will always be there. You cannot say select region and comma sales group by region. It will not work. It will give you an error. So group by clause always needs to have a aggregate function. And secondly, whatever the categorical data that you write in the select command, that has to be there in the group by also. Okay.
Amit, if we want to see only for the East region, then where we have to give?
So what you have to do?
If we want to find only for the East region.
So we can use where clause, and we also have a having clause on the
Okay.
group by. So I'll be showing you. So on top of that group by, we have one more clause that is having, which I'll be just be telling you. You can just try this
Oh.
once, then I'll come to having. Yep, you will try it.
If I use
You can just-
category also in the select class, right? I should give that category column in the group by as well, right?
So if you use category over here, so you have to write category over here also. Right? So if you say region and category, so you will say category over here. For each region in each category, what was the total sales? So you can give this as total.
Okay.
And it's always a good idea, right? When you are using multiple levels, always use order by for better understanding. So I will order it by region. So in central, the 3 categories, east, the 3 categories. So I can easily make out from here. And if you want to copy this data from here, you can just double click on this and you can say copy with headers, and you want to paste it into an Excel or something like that, you can do that. Okay. So now, right, let's write a query now over here. So like, suppose what I want to do now is, can you quickly write a query for what I would like to do is for categories and subcategories. I would like to see the sum of sales and profit for each for category and subcategory. So basically, at subcategory level, I want to see what was the total sales and the total profit. So that, but in that query, I should also be able to see the region, the category also, like to which category that subcategory belongs. Right? So let's use this only. So we want the sum of profit also as TP, total profit. So I can execute it. So okay, are you all able to do it?
Yes.
Okay. So with group by, there is one clause that we can use, and that is having. Now this having is something that you can use with group by only. Without group by, you cannot use having standalone. So what is the use of having? Having is like where clause. But the difference between where clause is that where clause, where clause filters the data at a row level. Having filters the data at summarized level, right? Like for example, this is the query that we wrote and we got this output. Now, my requirement is, if you see right now, that for many of the, if you will see for many of the, the subcategories, I can see the profit is in negative. You see, profit is coming in negative. If you will take a note over here, if I scroll down, this is again negative, right? So I can see that a lot of profits are coming in negative over here. So now with the report that I'm going to share with my boss, or the number that I'm going to share with my boss, now over here he says I want to share only with the, I only want to share the numbers of those subcategories which had positive profit. So what I can do is after I create this summary, okay, after I create this, so after group by, I can put a having clause. I can say having sum of profit greater than zero. That means I'm saying I want to keep only that data where the total profit is more than zero. Okay, so now if I execute this, now it only gives you those subcategories. I'm only left with 14. So previously I think there were 16 or 17. So now I'm left with 40. So it only gives me the data of those subcategories. So previously I had 17, right? So when I add this having clause, so only positive ones are left. So with which I'm left with 14 only. So what I've done is I have done a filtration that having the sum of profit more than zero. So having you can use only with group by after you have created a quick summary.
Can we use alias names in having clause? Like
No.
sum of profit TP.
So you, I mean, you're trying to say that you write it as TP,
Yeah.
right? So no. So if you just write this, okay, so it gives you invalid column name. So
Okay.
you cannot use this TP over here. There's a reason for that, which I'll just tell you.
Okay.
So group by and having they come together. You can also use it this way, right? Like the question was being asked that you only want to see the data for East region, right? Like what you do is you can say having, like in this case, suppose I only want to see the data for furniture. So I will say where category equals to furniture. So with this, what will now happen over here is it will give me the data only for the furniture category, right? Not the other ones. Okay. So now can you, right? If you see now, so what is the difference between, right now this is a question that is asked a lot. Difference between the this group by having and where clause, right? So this is something that is asked a lot. So basically always remember where clause is something that filters at the row level. Where cannot aggregate the data. You cannot say where sum of sale is more than zero because where does not have that capability. Okay, like the table that you have, right? Like any table that you have. So what basically where clause do is, if this is the table that I have, so where clause can only go to the raw table and it can check the condition row by row. Like if you say sale greater than 100, it is going to check in this row, this row, this row. So it cannot aggregate it. You cannot say sum of sale. Whereas having is something, it cannot check the data row by row. It will check after the grouping, the summary is created, after the data has been showcased after aggregation. On that, this having clause works. So that is the main difference that you have between having and where. Okay. So please remember this thing, difference between the having and where. Now what I'll do is, since we have seen the query, now I'll tell you something very, very important, right? Logical execution of queries. See, what we do is the order in which you will be writing a query, that will be select from, you have this where you will have group by having, and then what you have is order by. And there is also one command that is like the, uh, oh sorry, I missed. This is the sequence, right? This is a sequence, and if you are using a distinct part, you will write distinct over here, right? So distinct comes over here now. So now this is a sequence in which you write the query, right? That first you will write select that what do you want to see. If you want to apply a distinct clause, it will be there. If you will then say from which table do you want to extract the data, then you apply a where clause, group by, having, and order by. Correct? Are you all clear on this? Now this is what the sequence in which you will write the query. So this is a not execution, I will say this is the sequence of writing the query. This is a sequence in which you write the queries. But when you fire this query, when you execute this query, SQL does not execute in the same sequence. What SQL will do is, first of all, it will execute from. It will SQL query, the SQL engine will go into that query and it will say from. Okay, this is a table from where the data has to be picked up. Then it is going to execute where. Okay, so on this table, you have applied a condition that, okay, only this much data has to be kept. Okay, after that, it will do the grouping. In the grouping, what happen is you are partitioning the data, that at what all, how the data has to be broken up, right? When you say, group by region, so this is where it says, okay, let me break the data into 4 parts because the user wants the data to be grouped by region. And because having comes over here, so these two are going to come together only, group by and having. Then SQL executes select command, right? Then it says, then it comes to select part that, okay, which all columns do I need to keep? So now you says, I want to keep region, category, subcategory, whatever columns. Then it comes to select part. And then finally it executes order by, that if you want the sorting of the data to be done, it will sort it. Okay, now this is the sequence in which SQL will execute it, and above is the sequence in which you have to write it. Getting it? So above is the sequence in which you write, and below is the sequence in which the SQL engine is going to execute the query. Now I hope you would have got this answer also of this, that why this query was not working when you are writing TP over here. Because what is now happening is, now just see, if you write this query, what will happen is, first of all, SQL is going in this table orders. Let me clear this first. And see, first of all, what SQL is doing? SQL is going in this table. It says, okay, in this table, what do I need to do now is, I don't have any where clause. You have straight away grouping. So SQL now breaks the data by category and subcategory. And it says that I only have to keep that data where the total profit is more than 0. It keeps that. Then it comes to select, right? So because select is something that we are using later on, I am saying that in the data that is being generated, I only want to showcase category, subcategory, sum of sale as total. So what I've done is, and sum of sale as profit. So in the having, I have already selected the renaming, right? Alias name of the column is something that I am doing later on. I am renaming the column in the later part of the query, because in the execution, select is going to come after having, And in the select statement, what I've done is I have done the renaming of the column, because renaming is done later on. So that is why till the time SQL is executing having, it doesn't know what TP is, but it know what is sum of profit, right? Because sum is a function and profit is a column inside that data. So that is why it is able to recognize sum of profit, but TP is something that I'm creating after it, so it does not recognize that and it gives you an error for that. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is a question which is asked a lot these days in the interviews, that what is the logical sequence of writing the queries. So you should be clear on this. But if you will use this name, right? If you will use Elias name in the order by, it will work. Why? Because we know that order by is something that is executed after select. So now order by knows what is TP. So like for example, if you write over here, you want to sort the data by, I've written category. So if I say I want to sort the data by TP, total profit, this will work, right? So data is sorted in the order of profit in the ascending order. So you can see it works without any problem.
Amit, I have a question. When I'm writing this command about sum of profit greater than 0, it is showing me as incorrect syntax near having. I don't know why that is happening, although the formula is same. The command is same that you're entering.
Can you share your query on the chat?
Yeah, I'll do that. It says I can't share the screen while the other participant is sharing.
Yeah. You see order by, you have written in the middle also. After group by, again you have a order by.
Mm.
You see order by is coming twice, and this line order by, you have to remove order by category after group by that you have written.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so whole line has to be removed. Okay, why did I
Because
do that?
now
Okay.
no,
Hmm?
you don't want group by. I think you are not using group by, having. You have removed having also, no? And order by will be removed.
This one?
Yes.
No. Okay.
So that will be right.
Okay.
Okay. So
Mhm.
basically, right, this is what we have to keep in mind. So when you write a query, so this is what I was telling you. So this is how you write the sequence.
Okay.
Basically, first you write select from where group by having last comes the order by. If you miss, if we just break this order, if I by mistake, if I write order by over here, the query is not going to work, because now the sequence in which SQL engine is expecting the queries is not correct. So this is what the problem was happening. You had order by before having. So that is why SQL was giving you an error.
Okay.
So now this is what, and this is how we use the group by clause now. Okay. So now what we'll do over here is, now I'll be jumping back to so all the DQL, right? Data query language clauses are done. And these are something that we will be using a lot. And now what we do is I'll be jumping back on the DML commands, right? DML, if you remember, that was data manipulation language. In the data manipulation language, there were 3 commands that I wrote. One was insert, one was delete, and one was update. Now see, insert I have already seen and you know how to use it. There is a command that we have, that is delete. Now delete is a command. Delete is used to remove the rows from the table, right? So basically what this command does is it removes the complete rows. It is going to remove complete row from the table. Suppose, this data that you had, now you want to delete some data inside it. In this table, you want to delete some data. Suppose, there is a customer whose data you want to delete. Suppose there is one customer and the name of the customer is this, Prosina. Now, you want to delete the data of Prosina Hoffman everywhere. So this complete row you want to delete, this you want to delete. So if you want to delete any rows, we use delete command for that. So how we use it, it's very simple. You will simply say delete from orders. So when you write delete command, now SQL understands that you want to delete the data from the table. If by mistake you run this command, what will happen is complete data will be deleted. All the data will be deleted from the table. Only the structure will be left. You will just have column names left, but the data, all the rows will be deleted. So you have to be very careful when you use delete command, because once the data is deleted, you cannot roll it back. So you will say delete from orders where customer name, right? You will say where customer name is equals to Brosna Hoffman. If you will write this, it is only going to delete those rows where the name of the customer is Brosna, not each and every row. So you have to be very careful with this, right? So if I'll execute this, the data of all the Brosna Hoffman, so there were 24 such rows, it's gone, it's deleted. Now it's permanently gone. I cannot retrieve it back. Okay. So when you delete data, you will be using where clause, and all the the syntaxes that we discussed, like in the where clause, like greater than, less than, and or you can use anything over here. And based on that condition, the data will be deleted from the table. So please try this out. Nope. Are you able to do it? Yeah. So if you delete the data, there is no rollback. If you have to use the rollback, so there is a technique of doing that. So we have to use a TCL command for that, transaction control. So we have to use begin transaction and then we do it. So I'll just tell you how we do that as well. Okay, but by default it becomes an auto commit that if you delete it, so it's permanently done. Similarly, we have a command that is update. Right now, update, as the name itself tells, that you want to update something. The data that is already there, and you want to update it. Right? Like for example, now if I come over here and I say select star from orders, now suppose I realize that like some of like this Laurel Workman. Now this customer name, some spellings were wrong, right? Suppose he comes back to me that he says, my name is Laurel Workman. So you have some, there are some wrong spelling that you have written over here, right? It was not E, it was A. It was Laurel Workman. Just a small example. So you will now have to update his name, correct? So how will I do updation is, I will say, so when you write update command, you say update table name. So this hash is just I'm writing update table name. Then you say set column equal to value, new value, right? What is the new value you want to update? And then you use where clause, right? So what I'm saying is I will say update. The name of my table is orders. I'm going to say set customer name equal to this. I'm updating the name to this, where customer name. See, I have to again be very careful. I have to again use the customer name over here. I'm saying where customer name is equal to this, right? So I'm saying wherever the name of the customer is Laurel Workman, I want to update it to Laurel Workman. Because if I again don't give this command, and if I simply run this command, what will happen is all the names will be updated to Laurel Workman. I am saying set customer name equal to this. So all the names will be updated to this. But if I add a where clause, that is where now SQL understands that only the names where I am getting this, that has to be updated, not everywhere, right? And generally it is a good idea that in this case, I should typically use customer ID. I should be saying that customer ID equal to this, because it can happen that there were some more Laurel Workmen, and if I write this query, their name will also get updated with A, right? So this is where you can be a little careful. Based on the data, you can specify the customer ID, that where the customer ID is this, because I know the complaint has come from this customer, that where he mentioned that in your systems, the spellings of my name are incorrect, so please update it. So that is how I want to update it. So I will say, okay, this is the value, this is the new name, and this has to be replaced for customer ID is this. So I can use this as well. I hope I'm making sense to all of you, right? So I will say customer ID equal to this. So you can use anything based on your understanding of the data. So if I now execute this, it is done. And if I check the data, you will see that the data in the name has been updated to A. The E has been changed to A. This is again apply for anything. Okay.
Amit, can I use the undo option? Because if I do not want to update this particular customer name after running the query, okay, I realize
So,
that I do not want.
see, this is undo is not undo will not work on the tables. It will just work on the script window. It will just remove that value. So once the value is done, so again you can't roll back.
Because I was searching for that icon for rollback, I couldn't find in this particular explorer. So I thought whether.
So basically, this is what. So what you have to do is when you are writing update command. So
Okay.
before that, you have to write begin transaction.
Okay.
So there is a way of doing that. So you write begin transaction. So
Mm-hmm.
now what you do is, if I say I want to set customer name equal to XYZ,
Okay.
right, where customer ID is this. So you have to start it like this. So now what will happen over here is, now query is executing, but it is not completed yet. right? So if you now will check the data over here, if you will check the data over here, if you will see the customer names, you see the customer name is related to XYZ. But now you realize that this is something a wrong mistake. So what you do is since I have now executed this command with begin transaction, you will now have two options. Either you commit it or you roll back it. So what I do now is if I say roll back, so now the command has been undo. So now if you will now check the data over here, the data would have been undone over here. So you will see the same name is coming. If I would have executed commit, it would have been made a permanent change.
Okay. Should I include both the commands in my script, or I can include only rollback?
See, there is only one thing you will do, right? Either
Yeah.
you will make it a permanent or you will undo it.
Okay.
So if you want to make it permanent, you will say commit. If you want to undo it, you will say rollback.
Okay.
Okay. So now this is how what we do is we use the update command. So both the commands, right? When you use delete and update, right? So when you use delete and update, so in both the commands now where is something that plays an important role, right? So if you miss the where, you can actually be in a soup that where what will happen is all the data will get deleted or updated. So please be careful with the where clause that you write. Otherwise, the syntax remains the same. Very simple. For updating, you say the name of the table where you want to update. You set where do you want to update, and then where do you want to it. Where do you want those changes to happen? And the same thing gets applied to delete command as well, right? So this is where I think I'll come for a pause now. So maybe like in the exercise that I shared, so in that you will find a couple of questions for update and delete also. So you all can try that as well, right? So you can work on those questions also to just have a quick practice on the things. Okay. And you want to save the query, so you can save it. So just right click save, and you can save the query as well. This is today is 26th of May. So yes, so you can once you commit, then you can't roll back. So commit means making the change permanent.
Okay.
Right? Like if you would have seen, right, when you go to the superstores, over there also when you punch something, when you buy an order, right? So there is a insert command that gets executed. When you say you want to remove this, shopkeeper has to do a lot of tasks on that. That he says, okay, now if he'll have to remove the item, he deletes everything and he starts recreating your order one more time. So because over there what happens is the data is getting inserted, deleted with the help of a software. But ultimately in the backend also there is a update insert commands which are being executed. So when you go and you go to a store, you say, please update my phone number. There's a lot of hassles that he has to do. Because although he's doing that with the software, but in the backend there is a SQL query that gets filed. Okay. Okay, guys, so this is where, so let's connect tomorrow and take the things ahead from here. Sure, sure. Yep.
Thank you.
We'll do it. At least work on their assignment as well, right? So try to share work on their assignment so that you can get to know your, you can judge yourself. And if you get any questions, so please feel free to ask.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So thanks everyone. So,
Yeah,
next
thank
one.
you.
Thank you for this.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye all.